First, I am a child of God, a mother to one boy, a marketer who helps business grow, and my name is Chelashaw. So I'm 47 years of age, and I have been part of this community since 2023 November. And I heard about it from my friend Phyllis, who is out, and agreed to join. At that point in my life, a year before that, I had just stopped what I would call functional alcoholism. I was able to work fine, but I was in a daze for almost 20 years, so to speak. It sounds weird, but that's how it was. And so the year prior to 2023, when I joined, I think I was now seeing the world for the first time, to be very frank, as an adult, because I started drinking at 20, and that time I think I had just turned 43 when I stopped drinking. So I started seeing the world with my real eyes, and I started noticing things I know I had been trained about by my own parents, seniors, people who cared about me and wanted me to take certain paths. And so I started noticing things that were necessary for me to do. But I honestly didn't know how to integrate them in my already disarray life, so to speak. So in that specific year, I started searching for places that could help me have an understanding of what I was now seeing in a sober world. And one of the programs I ended up was in Mogire's. Now, my story with Mogire is a bit different from most because I found him very harsh and very direct. And for me, I really battled. I battled a lot, but every time he spoke, he was speaking to a part of me I think had been neglected for so many years. And so I still came back. Even if I complained, I still came back. Every day, so no, of course not doing assignments. I'm like, even yesterday's we've not finished, you're already on this one. But I still came back because he still spoke life into me in one way or the other. And for that challenge ended around January the following year. And after that happened, we ended up meeting with some of the people in the program and set up kind of a group. And why I wanted to be in that is just to keep understanding what was he really saying. Because what he was speaking was a lot of Chinese, but it was moving things in my heart. Things were moving. Things were moving in my system. And I didn't know what to do with that. So the one thing that stuck with me from that program was, is your life one continuous day? Mine was. It was one continuous 25 years, and now we're in another new continuous whatever it was. And he talked about morning reset. I didn't even know what that was. Then he said 5 o'clock, and I was like, you must be joking. And for some reason, I still woke up, even if it was with one eye. I was like, let me just check. I bought his book, and that journey led me, I think by God's grace, to the group that had intentions of continuing with what he had taught us. And I thank God for that, because that's been also my biggest anchor in terms of integration. So we started that journey, and all we picked up was morning reset. Fortunately, there was no new content every morning. There was no new heart attack every morning. So it started becoming a safe, familiar space. And reciting intentionality gives me the power to embody the identity God designed for me, with gratitude, with this, with that. Some of those things started becoming real. So it's because it was happening every single day. I started believing them and started planning my day, and like one day can actually end and it feels like my whole life has happened, And that was so new for me, brand new. And I started realizing the impact it has for my life. And so the truth is also consistency was something. I remember him saying, consistency, something is built in the trenches of repetition. What was it? something. So repetition, every time I felt like quitting, I remember that repetition story. Like, you have to be in that trench of repeating for you to get the outcome you want. So I'd still come back, but since consistency wasn't a habit I had, I'd still drop off. I'd get tired. We had one person, I must repeat, Gladys, who is a part of that group, who every day, even when I was like, group imekufa, she's just there with a smile, good morning. And that warmed my heart every day, till one day I was like, I want to be like you. 90 days challenge. I just started with a 90-day challenge of showing up for my morning reset every day. And that was one of the biggest shifts in my life in 2025, because it changed so many things in my life, in the sense that I started believing I'm a completer. I started believing in the order of setting up your day for what it was, good or bad or whatever, closing it at the end of the day and preparing for my night and starting a new day the following day, intentionally. And that belief now cannot be removed from me. I know I'm consistent, I know I'm a completer, and whenever I start anything, I have no fear. And when I get stuck, I have somewhere to go back to and say, look, Mercy, don't leave that Mercy behind. So that was one of the biggest shifts, and I think that's the point my love grew for Dr. Mogire. And also, like for Dr. Mogire, the time he finished the program we did in 2024, that started us in 2025, when he finished it, I felt a need, like my life was ending. I started hounding him on his DMs. I really wanted a coach. I was like, I think I'm ready for more now. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to find the time to give me that. He intended to, but I think a lot happened and he was not able to. But fortunately, there was this group. And so I started seeing and hearing what he was saying. And I spent so many hours in his YouTube channels. And now there are two particular ones I kept repeating, listening to. The one for Morning Reset and the one about his story from the school that is like 4 sentences. And up to the point he was. And just trying to envision that, putting that in context with the Bush Khalifa. You remember him talking about the scaffolds and those kind of things. And I could now understand what he was saying verbally, to even now a building, like to applying it in a building, to applying it in life, to applying it in humanity, and to applying it to myself. And on top of that, we were able to study his workbook, the Embody, that helped me have practices that have also grounded me. Like, one was gratitude, 2 was mastering transitions. And transitions for me was as simple as tasks. A task comes, and that was it for my day. Like, I finish one task, I'm supposed to transition to the next. I distract myself to the bottom. And so when I read something like Transition Mastery, I've been able to manage myself like an adult. Let me call it that way, because when a task becomes difficult and I can't continue, I can actually stop it and put it aside and start something else without guilt, without confusion, without distraction, without questioning my worth, without without pretending it's fine or just trying to summarize and finish. So many things I started claiming, like putting depth into stuff, thoroughness, clarity. And there's so much power in speaking to yourself what you want to do, in speaking to other people what you want to do, in writing it down, then doing it. Even if you do one, it's transformed me in ways I can't explain. And also, the beauty of it is it's transformed all aspects of my life. I want to tell you a story. This year was 2025 was my first year I set goals that I tracked, and I was able to look back and say, this is the journey I have taken. And I'm proud to say this year, I will make goals that will satisfy my needs healthily based on what Mogire has spoken to us and said he will give us in the program he's now bringing. And that gives me even more joy and certainty of where I'm going to. So I'm at a place where, from now seeing the world and being shocked at what's happening, to actually being part of it and playing the part God created me for. I'm really grounded in what God wants me to be. And even like before, in my Christian journey, I used to think once you sin, that's it. And understand, and I'm not saying I'm encouraged to sin, but just understanding that fault is part of the brokenness of humanity, and seeking God to keep bringing me together is a process I enjoy now. I don't feel guilty about. I'm so proud to be called a child of God. I'm so honored to have been chosen by God, by His grace, like He actually picked me to be His child, is something big for me, that He even gave me the honor of being a mother, even in my moments where I was not available as a mom, but still sustained my son, and has given us a chance to reconnect and what can I call it? Like, like reconstruct a family, like what's the word? Restoration of my family and my son, myself, my parents, who were the ones I blamed for everything that was going on in my life. And I carried the victim mentality for so long. And it's still in the same year of 2025, I was able to walk that journey. Thanks to the group as well, I must say, because it became a safe space where on days I'd struggle, I'd speak my truth, and people would pray over me and to tell me what practical steps I could take in the day, what it is I would do. And I came to see that Mercy, who was a victim, versus the Mercy who takes responsibility for my life. So I am so grateful that God brought us this far, made us have a community. I'm so thankful to Dr. Job Chopu, for continuously, because I remember even that time I was like, there were times he was frustrated. He was like, am I speaking Greek and things like that? But for just continuously desiring to want to share the journey towards being whole. As he experienced it, so that we are able to pick those parts of us that are broken, we can work with. So for me, I think I just have deep gratitude for the fact that I'm here, for the fact that I obeyed, for the fact that I am able to apply what I learn, and I'm filled with joy for what it is I've been able to walk through, and I'm hopeful for the future.
Thank you for sharing that amazing story of your transformation. And since your journey included reconnecting with relationships, I guess, what conversation have you had, have you been able to have that you were not being able to have before starting this process?
Okay, I'll mention whatever comes to my mind, but let me start with my sons, because I parented on autopilot. I knew what he needed was a house and food, and maybe an education, and just to keep him alive. I had him in my when I turned 20. I was still a college student, so I really didn't know what being a mother meant. So by the time I was going to live with him, that's what I knew I needed to do. The rest of the time, I was spending doing what I told you. So having now, just seeing him now, even in my being sober, I realized I didn't even know who he was first. And I didn't even know how to approach him or to speak to him, because I didn't even know how to speak to myself, honestly. And it took help of professionals to walk us through a very tough journey of speaking to each other in the way we understood life. And God has been so gracious. My brother is also, my older brother, he's stepped in as a male figure. And even just guiding me as an older brother or a male figure as well, he's really been the person who, for some reason, sees the cracks or challenges of my frustration and would call and come for meals and talk to us. And so right now, even my son is able to tell me things like, you didn't teach me that before. And we can sit and talk about it. And I don't pretend about the mistakes I made. And I don't even pretend I knew and ignored them. I even don't pretend like I know what he needs to do anymore. So we're kind of growing in silence and in words together. Of course, I got into relationships that were not, if the person I am now, I'm not proud of. Male, like romantic relationships, based on what I knew, based on the fact that we'll drink together. We'll do all the vices and clap for each other because of those vices. And having that conversation with myself and accepting responsibility for picking up such kind of relationships has been very hard for me. And just even forgiving myself for accepting to sell myself short in those moments has been difficult for me. So the biggest difficult relationships are just my own honest conversations, but God has really helped me to overcome them, because at the end of the day, I think the grace of God, when it saves you, it makes you whole again. It makes you trust again. It makes you know you're held by the one who created you. So even that, and having a community of church members who walk genuinely according to the word of God with me has really helped me. So now I can have honest conversations. I can keep silent when I don't know what to say. I can walk away when I know for sure that's not my place or not my work to do. I'm almost able to step back of everything relationship to question myself. What is happening here? Before it was all on autopilot. You're just being brought by circumstances, places, trends, things that, like we sound like they're the things that, like define us. Not anymore. Yeah. So when I get lost, I still refer to the Bible and I'm like, God, guide me on this issue and show me what to do and help me be obedient. Because that was the thing I struggled with most. My life started from rebellion, and I just felt my parents disliked me, my community hated me for whatever reason. Looking back now, I can picture some of the reasons, but that's what I felt. And I'm not saying I'm there yet. I still struggle. Like when Mogire said, my worth was never in question, I'm like, wait a minute, inside me. And then things like, I have never failed. I'm like, wait, what you want to call those 20 years, So there are those things that inside I'm still working to believe. But I liked what he said when he said, we are primarily driven by 3 beliefs. And I was like, I will query to the bottom. What are those ones that are developing my bad behaviors, so that I'm able to work through them slowly, and learning that it's whatever little you do daily compounds. However little it is, it compounds. I used to deal with problems with my son with money. Now I can say no and explain to him why. For me, there's a day I said no to him. I promise you, I went to my room and I was jumping and thanking God. Like, I successfully did this. Yeah, so because now if you're solving it with things of this world, thinking you've taken care of the issue. So, and just accepting that was, in that moment, that was what could hold my space. And it's evidence of how broken we are as humans. So yeah.